As we get older, we tend to notice that we have to spend more time warming up. I used to be able to hop up on anything and do planches and muscle-ups without warming up, but those days are pretty much gone for me. Although we might be short on time, skipping or rushing through the warm-up will just leave your body angry and will increase the risk of injury. I've been guilty of this plenty of times, and I immediately regret that decision when I do it, and I wonder, why didn't I just spend the extra 10 minutes warming up? Because then my body hurts more, and I probably ruin my workout or maybe even the workout the next day. So instead of that, let's look at some important preparation exercises you can use before training on the rings, and your body will thank you for doing so. The exercises featured today will lightly prep your shoulders, chest, and back, and will prepare your muscles before targeting them in a workout. Let's start with some of the muscles that are in charge of stabilizing the shoulder joint, and these are the rotator cuff muscles. And these are important to train for both rotational work and overhead work. So how do we do this? Well, grab a band and we'll show you. First, we'll showcase external rotation. So attach a band to an anchor point, stand oblique to that point, back up away far enough so there's tension with the band. Hold the band in the hand that is furthest from the attachment point, this being your outside hand. Start with the arm in front of your body. Bend your arm at 90 degrees. Have it resting in front of your stomach. Slowly rotate your forearm away from your body, making sure you initiate the movement from your shoulder rather than your wrist or turning your body. And you want to keep your elbow tucked by your side. Carry on rotating until your forearm is about perpendicular to your torso, if the range of motion allows it. After you reach this position, slowly return back to the beginning without letting the band pull you back in a jerky or quick motion. We want to stick to a rep scheme of about 15 to 20 reps. You'll feel a nice burn and good blood flow. The alternative version is facing the attachment point. Raise your arm out to the side with your elbow in line with your shoulder, bend at 90 degrees, and slowly externally rotate, pulling the band away from the attachment point. But we can't just train external rotation, we also must train the internal rotation to keep a good balance. Carrying on with internal rotation, we want to be in the same position as we just were. However, we want to have the band in the other hand, the hand that's closer to the attachment point. We also want to stand a little further away because the internal rotators tend to be stronger than the external. Make sure there's tension with the band. The start position will be in the externally rotated position with the forearm more perpendicular to the torso. And you want to internally rotate by having the forearm come towards the stomach, keeping the elbow tucked by the side and maintaining a slow tempo. Next up, we want to focus on some arm circles while we're in this position. So with one hand, hold the band, stand facing the anchor point, and slowly perform some rearward circles as well as some forward circles. This is going to help open up some range of motion in the overhead position as well. Next up, we have shoulder abduction, where we're going to warm the shoulders up in both the frontal and lateral planes. So hold each end of the band, one side in each hand, stand on top of the middle of the band, and we're going to slowly raise our arms in front of us to about shoulder height. We can also do a lateral raise by raising our arms to the side, again to about shoulder height. And then we can also do the same for rearwards. So we're going to be pushing the band behind us as high as possible, keeping shoulder width if possible. And you'll notice that you have to keep a tight core when doing these. So now that our shoulders are nice and warmed up, let's do a few stretching exercises. And a lot of people fail to notice or realize how much range of motion you actually need for the rings. For example, the muscle up. You assume the bottom position of a dip, which is pretty stressful on the shoulder and requires a great deal of range of motion. And then we have skills like the skin the cat, which are really going to be tugging on the shoulders. So let's go to a nice stretching exercise that a lot of people could use before training on the rings. Pike to inverted pike position. So first, start by sitting on the ground with your legs straight out in front of you and forward fold into a pike stretch, and then gradually lean backwards and roll so your hips, lower back, and then shoulders are contacting the floor, and assume the inverted pike position, and see if you can get all the way to having your feet touch the floor behind you. After reaching this, sit up forwards into the normal pike position again. Now notice here, we want to keep contacting the floor with our hands. And by doing that, you're also opening up a range of motion with the shoulders. So again, as we are leaving the normal pike position, we rock and lean backwards and circle our hands out to the side, and eventually into the overhead position, always maintaining contact with the floor. The purpose of this exercise is to warm up the pike positions and transitions that you might be doing on the rings. And you also want to focus on straight legs here by squeezing the quads. Performing 1 to 2 sets of 5 reps would be the goal. Let's do another exercise that a lot of gymnasts do before swinging on the rings. And this is to get the pecs and shoulders even more prepared. And this is the standing inlocate dislocate exercise. Grab a stick or a firm band and hold in the front or pronated grip, typically wider than shoulder width. And with this exercise, we're basically doing a rearward and forward arm circle, but holding an object. So as you're holding the stick, start to raise your arms upward overhead, and then carry on behind you, rearwards, and down towards the hips. After this position, you want to reverse it and come through with that forward motion. Now, when doing this, you want to have straight arms and a smooth transition when you're inlocating and dislocating. Now, if it's jagged or uneven or your arms are bending, you're probably too close in grip. Try going a little wider. Over time, as you get more flexible, you want to decrease the distance between your hands, but you don't want to do it too soon. So here we want to do about 1 to 2 sets of 10 reps. And you'll probably find that in the second set, you'll be able to close in the hand width a little bit. Next up, let's head to the low rings and get our shoulders ready for swing and skin the cat type work. So you'll have to play with the adjustment, but I like to be in a kneeling position on the ground with the rings above head height and grabbing the rings with both hands and either focusing with one arm or both arms at a time, gradually circling around from the front position to the skin the cat position, which is rearwards. It's getting the shoulder prepared in this arc and range of motion in overhead, sidewards, and rearwards. And this is a nice exercise because instead of going right to the rings and going full body weight, stress in the shoulders and joints. Thanks for following along today with our warm-up exercises for the rings. And do we have to do all these exercises? Well, of course not, but at least grabbing some of them or making a bridged version to use before your rings workout would be a great idea, because it is so frustrating to start your workout and then pretty much in the first 5 minutes you injure yourself, and you're going to be kicking yourself for doing that. So we wanted to make this video for you to prepare your shoulders and joints before hopping up on the rings, and this is something that I like to do beforehand. So again, thanks for watching. Comment below if you have any questions or things you want to ask us. So until next time, thanks very much. One thing that we've realized from training thousands of calisthenics athletes is that if your training is not personalized, it can hinder your progress, leave you injured, stuck, or plateaued. With the movement athlete, instead of having beginner, intermediate, and advanced exercises, we have exercises that'll be tailored specifically to you. It's also important to be well-rounded with your training. For example, some people have really strong legs, they might have weaker arm pulling muscles, or are lacking the shoulder mobility for handstands. You are a unique individual, and your levels of strength, mobility, and flexibility are different from everyone else's, and your training should reflect that. If you want to build skills, get stronger, and do it in a holistic way that will keep you healthy for years and help reduce injury, you've got to personalize your training. But the reality with personal training is that it can be pretty pricey, and it's often not available for what you want. And that's why we created the Movement Athlete Assessment.